So in the last episode, we got into Vault 7. You know, what happens when big agencies build these digital weapons and then lose track of them. But what we're talking about today isn't some far-off intelligence agency stuff. It's actually way closer to home. It's about the stuff you're touching and using every single day. See, after those tools were created, they didn't just vanish into thin air. They shifted, they spread out, and eventually, they just became part of life. When you see these devices you're used to, don't just gloss over them. The real point here is that the danger didn't show up with a loud warning or some big alarm. It showed up disguised as making your life easier. Let's begin. It's not like these high-level surveillance tools just disappear when a government is done with them. They turn into ideas. They become blueprints for how to build stuff. The crazy thing is how clean it looks when that tech turns into a regular consumer app. There's no big press release or dramatic handoff. It's just a quiet move from secret government projects to something you can download on your phone. It gets packaged up, marketed to us, and becomes totally normal. Most people don't even see the link between the two. Just think about how wild that transition actually is. Look, convenience is a hell of a drug. It saves you time, it makes everything smooth, and it basically tricks you into just accepting things. When those one-click features pop up on your screen, everything feels so effortless. You don't have to think, and you definitely don't ask any questions. The thing is, convenience doesn't even bother asking for your trust. It just assumes it has it. And once these companies realize that we value easy more than actually understanding how things work, they're going to keep designing everything exactly like that. Most of the time, we aren't even really making decisions. The defaults are making them for us. Next time you're in your settings, just look at how many things are already toggled on. They don't technically take your privacy away. They just bury it under 10 different menus. It's always opt-out instead of opt-in. And let's be real, most of us never change those settings. It's not because we're okay with it. It's just because we're busy, or tired, or we just figure it's fine. Those defaults are basically making our choices for us, while we're not looking. Think about how often you're asked to consent to something. It's constant. Terms of service, privacy policies, app permissions. And when you actually try to scroll through those documents, they're basically impossible to read. At this point, consenting is just a ritual. We aren't actually understanding what we're signing up for. We're just checking a box so we can get to the app. But here's the kicker. Once we check that box, the responsibility quietly shifts. It's not on the designers anymore. It's on us. Even though we never really had a choice in the first place. They always tell us we're in control, right? Like, oh, you can manage your data, or just go review your permissions. And when you open those privacy dashboards, they look so professional and reassuring. You've got all these nice little graphs, sliders, and buttons. But there's a huge difference between having a button to click and actually having a say in what's happening. If you have to be a tech expert just to understand what a setting even does, then that quote control is just for show. It's not real, it's just symbolic. The thing is, they don't always have to go out of their way to take your data. Most of it is just created automatically while you're doing other stuff. Think about all the digital traces you leave behind every single day. Where you are, how long you're on an app, even just the timing of when you send a text. None of those things feel like a big deal on their own, right? They don't feel invasive. But when you pile them all up, they tell a full story about your life. It's a story you're writing every day, but you never actually intended for anyone to read it. It's like, when everyone else is doing it, it just starts to feel fine. You look around and every app, every phone, every device basically works the exact same way. It's also uniform. And that's how they get you, through scale. If every single product behaves the same way, you eventually just stop fighting it. It's not that we all sat down and agreed this was okay. It's just that the alternatives basically disappeared. When everything is exactly the same, it's hard to even imagine it being any other way. The fact that it's everywhere becomes the reason we don't question it. The thing is, this isn't even about villains or some evil group of people. It's really just about incentives. The designers are just trying to keep people engaged, and the companies are just trying to grow as fast as they can. All this risk we're talking about, it just becomes a side effect of those goals. When you see those charts showing success and everything going up and to the right, you have to realize what they aren't showing you. Long-term consequences and the actual cost to society. Those things never show up on a quarterly report. Think about how often security is just an afterthought. They don't really worry about it until after the app is out, after everyone's already using it, and after we're all basically dependent on it. When you see all those constant updates and patches, you start to realize how fragile the whole thing actually is. It's like they're just bolting locks onto a door that wasn't built to hold them. It's never going to be as strong as if they built it right the first time. But actually redesigning the thing? That's too expensive. So we just live with these temporary patches forever. They're always promising transparency, but they never actually give it to us in a way we can use. Like, when they release those massive reports or disclosures. Have you ever actually tried to read one? They're so dense it's ridiculous. It's like they're using transparency as camouflage. The information is technically there, but there's no actual clarity. And the thing is, if you can't even understand what you're looking at, you can't really hold anyone accountable. It's just noise at that point. When you really look at it, we're making a massive trade every single day. Just think about it for a second. We're trading our privacy for a little bit of comfort. We're trading our personal data just to make things a bit more convenient. And the thing that gets me is how invisible that cost feels. It's not like you get hurt immediately or an alarm goes off on your phone. It's just, it builds up. The trade feels like this abstract idea that doesn't really matter, right up until the moment it suddenly does. Opting out often means opting away. Think about how much stuff you lose access to just by saying no to one tracking prompt. Suddenly, half the features don't work, and the buttons are all grayed out. It's like they're trying to squeeze you into it. Sure, you technically have a choice, but when they make the app useless unless you agree, that's not really a choice at all. It's more like a pay-to-play situation, but you're paying with your data instead of money. Surveillance doesn't always look like monitoring. You ever notice how we just call it personalization or making things easier? It's actually kind of wild how quiet it is. The algorithm just shifts things around in the background, and we don't even see it happening. It's not like there's some big warning sign saying, hey, we're watching you. It's just baked into the whole thing. It's built to be invisible. When systems are invisible, accountability disappears. The craziest part is that when something goes wrong, you can't even find anyone to blame. There's no one person making a bad decision or a single guy behind a curtain pulling levers. It's just the way the whole system was built to run. And because it's everywhere and nowhere at the same time, it feels almost impossible to fight back against it. Like, how do you even start to push back against a ghost? In these systems, users become variables. It's like we're all just being boiled down to a bunch of inputs and metrics now. The more they turn us into data points, the more the human side of things just disappears. At the end of the day, the algorithm doesn't actually care who you are as a person. It only cares about what you click on and what you do. That might sound like a small distinction, but it's actually a huge deal. It's a total shift in how we're being treated. Trust is assumed, not negotiated. You're told how the system works, not asked whether you agree. As terms appear already accepted, notice how one-sided the relationship is. Trust becomes mandatory. These systems don't surround us. We're basically living inside these systems now. Everything around us is layered with digital stuff. And it's honestly scary how smooth it all feels. But you have to realize, that seamless feeling? It's totally on purpose. If there was any lag, or if things were clunky and annoying, we'd actually stop to ask questions about it. They keep it smooth so we don't think twice. Remember when Vault 7 dropped? Everyone was talking about it for a minute and we all got a little more paranoid, but honestly, did any of us actually change how we use our phones? The headlines move so fast that we're on to the next thing in a week. These systems are built to last. But our outrage has a real expiration date. After a while, the crazy stuff just becomes the new normal, and we all just stop noticing it. The reason this actually matters is that the way these things are designed basically dictates how we act. And how we act eventually becomes just how society works. Once these patterns get locked in, it's so hard to go back. The longer a system like this runs, the more we just accept it as normal, even if it was never actually okay to begin with. We just get used to it. The real question isn't even about whether this is legal, or if they're even doing it on purpose. The thing we should actually be asking is, what kind of world are we building if everything stays designed this way? If we keep going down this path for another 10 or 20 years, where does that actually leave us? Just think about that for a second. In episode 4, we stopped talking about systems. We are going to start talking about people, families, elderly parents, children growing up inside these defaults. Because this isn't abstract anymore, it's personal.